Hi, kitty. What's up? Want to say hello to chat? No, you just want to squeak. Oh, this cat has been she's gotten so complacent. I've now that we have two people, she's two people in the house now because of a housemate. And so she gets to go wherever and ask someone to pet her anytime. And so anytime we're both busy, it is the end of the fucking world. She's like, wait a minute. I asked you to pet me, and the other guy didn't want to pet me, and now I'm asking you, and you also don't want to pet me? That's unacceptable. That cannot be the case. So she just threw a tiny temper tantrum about not being petted, which was it was very cute. It was a little annoying, but it was also very cute. Um All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. We're talking about Leagues of Votann right now, for the time being, because we had some events use the new Votann Codex over the weekend. It's been a while, actually, because events have refused to use it. They just didn't want to. So the Nova didn't do it for whatever reason. Most of the GTs this weekend didn't do it, but we do have a couple that did, including, make sure my thing's set up, including La Voz Open over in Spain, run by La Voz de Horus, I think, which did end up using it, which was cool. So now we can talk about some pretty well-performing Leagues of Votann lists, and we have lists doing well from multiple different detachments. I was a little bit worried that it would be Needgaard all day, all the time, but it looks like Brandfast is also doing pretty good as well, so it should be pretty cool. What's up, everybody? Thunderkin triple railgun land force ready for the night meta to not end. Yeah, please, sir. I would love my anti-vehicle 3 damage mass shooting to be useful. Let's go. So I think we're gonna start over here and talk about some Needgaard Oathband, because we want to rip this bandit off. So Koldo Bezka, I'm gonna hope that's correct. No one tried persecution despite it being the best. Is it the best? The Votann players I have spoken to do not feel that way, but maybe they're wrong. Maybe we will find out in a couple weeks. It will take some big brain guy will be like, let's fucking go, and then win a super major with it out of nowhere. And then everyone will be like, yeah, of course it was the best. I always said it was the best. I knew it was the best all the time. But I don't know. It feels kind of like there's a lot of hoops to jump through for that one. Although the stratagem to like reroll everything off of a Hearthband Pioneer Squad is actually pretty sick. If you shoot an assailed unit, you get like, it's either rerolls hit and wound or +1 hit and wound. I can't remember off the top of my head. That stratagem looks amazing. And also the effects where you can like assail anyone is pretty sweet. So you can get the debuff onto vehicles and stuff too, which is great. So Needgaard Oathband, I think, is going to be the most popular moving forward, and I don't think nobody should be surprised about that, because I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm going to move my viewer over. There we go. Because this is the highest damage output detachment, at least raw, right? Like baseline, it has the highest damage potential built into it because of its stratagems. That said, there are detachments that will use units that have a higher damage output. So we could see that like the Delve Shift, whatever, might be able to do more damage to higher toughness stuff because it has more anti-vehicle melee. But it doesn't have any stratagems that buff its damage output, and whereas Needgaard Oathband has a bunch. So that's where a lot of people are going. So we're starting with a Memnir strategist, so we can generate yield points. He's got Oathbound Speculator, which is the reroll 1s to. I'm gonna fact check myself here just because I don't want to misspeak. But I believe that is the enhancement to reroll 1s to wound and spend 3 yield points to gain +1 to wound. That is in fact what we get. So that will most likely be on a a gun unit of Ironkins Steeljacks. There they are, folks. I love that little wombo combo because that unit is horrifying. We have 2 Capricus carriers. They have replaced the Sagittors now at a massively discounted rate from what the Sagittors used to be. And you still retain your scout to transports, although you are carrying Hearthband Pioneers, which are not quite as cool as Obsec Hearthguard, but it is what it is. That's fine. They're also only 7 wounds, which is not that many. But, you get a bunch of individual entities for cheap, so that's fine. 3 units of 3 Brokir Thunderkin. Now, one thing that often gets played here is the unit of 6. In order to use the stratagem for sustained hits 2, because Thunderkin with SP conversion beavers crit on 4s if they're outside 12, so you can gain a bunch of sustained lethal on them, which is really cool. However, the thing that it does do, and it seems like this army is trying to play around, is that it essentially reduces your capacity to ignore cover pretty significantly. The benefit of the individual little units of Brokir Thunderkin is that you can jump them out, shoot one dude over somewhere, hit a target with a Graviton Blast Cannon, pull cover off of it, then blast a vehicle, right? So you get 3 activations of those. If you have the conversion beamer unit, they don't innately ignore cover. They need a friend to do it for them. So it's basically 2 Brokir Thunderkin units have to combine their power. Then you get 1 cover off one other thing, whereas the individual units are very efficient, and you get more cover reduction across the board. So we basically have a little Brokir Thunderkin friend for each of our Hecaton land fortresses, because they just get rerolls to hit now. They don't get ignore cover, so that we can ping a target with the Graviton Blast Cannon and then dump the Hecaton land fortresses into them. And they're running heavy conversion beamers, it looks like, as well. Which is what's the profile on this? They are lethal, strength 10, I think. But I think they're only AP 2 or 3, so the ignore cover is kind of a huge deal. If you're running the big cannon, the Magna Rail cannon, you don't necessarily need the ignore cover because AP 4 usually goes through, or it hits their invuln save, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, the SP heavy conversion is only AP 2, so you basically super duper need the ignore cover to make sure that happens. But you also are probably generating 2 to 3 lethal hits out of it. So it's, if the saves go through, it's like 12 damage, which is, it's pretty good. And you take a lot of the dice out of the equation as well. You're 4 or probably 3s rerolling 1s lethal on 4-ups. The chances you get 3 hits through is pretty high. We've also got 2 units of 3 Hearthband Pioneers for some utility, 2 units of 10 Hearthband Jaegers, so we can split them into the Capricus carriers. The big Ironkins Steeljack with Vulcanite Disintegrator unit, plus, interestingly, 3 Capricus Defenders, which are very good utility. They're only 70 points. The downside is that their OC is really small. It's only AC2, I think. But they are fast. They can do maneuver secondaries because they can move, shoot, move again. So they can use their movement to push them forward to get even farther up the battlefield. That's really interesting. Just a bunch of Capricus carriers running around everywhere. It's kind of neat. Plus they suppress, right? Is that their deal? Or Capricus Defender, excuse me. The Defender... No, it's the Scout ones that, or the Transport ones that it's suppressed. These guys just move and shoot and scoot. So for 70 points, you're getting 3 twin-linked autocannon shots plus... Is that all you get? They have a hull-mounted weapon as well, right? Oh, excuse me. Plus a top-mounted Magnicoil autocannon. So you're getting... Oh, they're on high less rotary, excuse me. So you're getting 9 2-damage shots, which is pretty good for cost. On a vehicle, so you can also tank shock. Which is neat. That's pretty cool. I definitely think that most lists are going to run one of these. 3 is surprising to me, to be honest. 3 feels like a lot, because their output independently isn't that great. But, like, if you're just bringing them off the table edge or whatever, like, I guess it makes sense. It's just only 10 points more for more Hernkin Pioneers, but I guess we already have 2 units. So I don't really know what you cut to take more Hernkin Pioneers. The benefit there, obviously, is that these guys are OC2 each. So they're 3 times as much objective control characteristic as the Capricus Defender, and you get similar output. But Capricus Defender is cheaper, so there you go. That's pretty cool. It's 9 damage too. Is that true? No. It's only 6. Oh no, you're right. It is 9. I don't know what I'm talking about. I literally said that, and then seeing it written down was like, that's much higher number than it feels like. But it is good. And then that also, I think, makes sense that you would be bringing the multiple Brokir Thunderkin, right? Because then you get more cover reduction, so that you could just dump Capricus Defender shots into people. So, like, you strip cover from something and shoot it with all 3 Capricus Defenders. The trade is pretty good. It's only 300 points for 3 Capricus Defenders plus a Brokir Thunderkin unit. And the volume fire is great, right? Because you actually do damage probably with the Graviton Blast. Then you're also shooting 27 2-damage shots into them. And that's pretty reasonable for cost. If we consider that these guys are that whole wombo combo is about the value of the cost of a Gatling Despoiler. You get 9 3-damage shots and 27 2-damage shots rather than the 36 2-damage. So it's like a slightly higher. Obviously, it's a much more difficult to get on target and stuff because you're not a big Titanic unit, but you're split into 4 entities, which is much better. So you consider those 2 things to get next to each other, and it's actually really an interesting discussion. The army kind of has a problem with low AP. I agree with that for sure. I think that AP 1 or AP 2, largely not ignoring cover, which is why the Brokir Thunderkin are so important, right? I'm a little worried that we're gonna get a situation where Games Workshop loves to do this, where they Neurolictors. We get a Neurolictor situation out of Brokir Thunderkin, where Leagues of Votann start every list with 3 units of Brokir Thunderkin, and Games Workshop goes, clearly they're undercosted. And you're like, well, maybe, but also we kind of need them because you built the whole faction around them. And then some balance idiot is like, they should go to 105. And you're like, what the fuck? Why? And I'm a little worried that will happen, but I hope to God it doesn't. We'll see how well Leagues of Votann actually end up doing, because they feel sort of mid. The power level of the Codex feels like okay, but not crazy. They're definitely going to go up to 100, yeah. And if you wanted to nerf the faction immediately, you would just increase the cost of that. It's like Wraiths with Necrons, right? Like every single incarnation of Necrons has basically hung its hat on the Wraith, on a little claw of a Canoptic Wraith. And so if you want to nerf the faction, or buff them, you just change the cost value of Wraiths. And that's basically every time it happens. And I feel like this is going to be the same situation. I mean, that was originally what killed Tyranids, was that they released the 65-point Neurolictor, and everyone took 3 because they were amazing. But you needed them to kill vehicles, because if you couldn't get +1 to wound, your army didn't do anything. And GW was like, nah, they should be 90. It feels like a very similar situation where it's like, we need these to do damage. Please do not nerf them. And they're like, nah, fuck you. Ironkin Steeljacks with Vulcanite Disintegrators. I love this unit. 36 devastating shots. And then the reroll 1s to wound off of Oathband Speculator is really good, because you can trigger additional you probably get 1 to 2 additional devastating wounds just by rerolling 1s. So your output into lighter stuff is impressive, and you can do it from a really long way away, which is a big deal. The crazy thing is that the Steeljacks they just shoot from so far. It's sweet. And then they also get enhanced Overwatch as well, which is actually unironically kind of sweet. I think the Overwatch with the high volume shooting is very impressive with these guys. The disembark at the end of any phase. That's not Needgaard though, right? That's Brandfast. Oh, this is Needgaard. They don't have a disembark strat. They just have fall back and shoot. They also have somewhat real melee. If you take the sword on them, but the sword makes you take like a bolt gun, right? So you lose a disintegrator. We did take it. Like their melee profile is okay, right? They're like strength 6, AP 0. They are. Oh, excuse me. They're strength 6, AP 2, but it's only 2 attacks each. But then you can get 6 sustained hit swings off of the Thane, which is, I guess, pretty good. But you lose a whole disintegrator, which is a big loss in exchange for a shitty bolt gun. I don't know. Is that worth it? Basically 6 gunshots for 6 melee attacks, or for 4 melee attacks. You get significantly less return on melee. That's interesting, especially because it makes your Overwatch worse, and that's like kind of the half their deal. But that's cool. Just about what I would expect. The other one that we had, that's this one. There was an X1 Brandfast. So if we want to talk about disembark at the end of any phase, Brandfast Oathband looking pretty good too. And this is the one that was really cool. It seemed like it was very high. It was very skill intensive, and it had a lot of interesting skill expression. Obviously, there's like we need to see an errata because it may be that its core mechanics change, but it was also, it seemed like the most difficult to build as well, because finding places for the transports in an army where your most popular transport is going to be like a 300 point vehicle or 220 point vehicle or whatever, makes things a little bit tough, but might be okay. Mm-mm. 30 shots and 16 melee attacks is okay mixed profile. I guess so. I guess I would probably have to see it in action. I think you're probably right. But it's not like 36 shots and 12 melee attacks doesn't feel like that much worse in melee. But I guess it's realistically the sustained hits on one dude is actually pretty relevant. I don't know. Killed 5 Vanguard veterans with it. That does feel pretty unlikely. I did 10 damage with 16 attacks through a 4+ in 1 save. I mean, I guess so. It could happen, but it feels unlikely. Definitely, like, it stops it from being engaged by random stuff, which I guess is the idea of enforcing you to pay to fall back. Wait, what does the Mimnir do in melee? Is he good? I imagine he's not. But I feel like could have like mechadendrites because he has all those little tentacle things. Oh no, he has 1 strength 3 melee attack. Oh my god. Chat. What does the Mimnir do in melee? Is he good? Answer: no. No, he is not good. Holy shit. What a dumpster fire. Incredible. What a time to be alive. All right, let's talk about Brandfast Oathband. I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into this attachment. So this one gives all of your infantry wholly within 6 inches of a transport. So likely the stuff that has just disembarked a transport. Sustained hits 1. The important thing though is that it doesn't require you to disembark the transport. So you can just be there, and it's any transport. So it works on your Capricus carriers. It works on your Hecatan land fortresses. It works on your Sagitaurs. It works on fucking everything. And it doesn't matter if you are able to embark in the transport. It just requires that you are an infantry unit. However, it does only affect ranged attacks, so it doesn't affect your melee. But sustained hits, like asterisk army wide, all your infantry is pretty sick. We have a Broke here Iron Master with a Trivarg Cyber Implant, which gives you sustained 2 if you either disembark a transport or spend 2 yield points. And I 100% expect that guy's in a unit of 6 Broke here Thunder Cannon with SP conversion beavers. Yeah. So these guys are 4+ critical lethal, sustain 2. That's fucking crazy. And then you can also do that in Needgaard, but you gotta pay a command point for it. And this is basically free. You just have to spend yield points. However, Brandfast Oathband has enormous benefits for staying inside hostile takeover. Yeah, hostile acquisition. So if you are not in hostile acquisition, you actually lose a bunch of efficiency. So you want to be burning through your yield points as quickly as you can. So that's actually kind of an upside that it gives you less yield points. So huge deal. We have Uthar the Destined to give free strats, which we didn't have in the other detachment, actually, the other list, the Needgaard list. I just realized there's no Uthar, so they're just paying all their command points for strats, which is crazy because especially Needgaard kind of burns out of CP really quickly. But not today. Not that the Lava's open, I guess. We just vibing. Hostile takeover and fortify acquisition. Yeah, hostile takeover like is an actual phrase that people use. So everyone's gonna call it hostile takeover. So I don't know. We've got Hearthkin Warriors for OBSEC. We are taking Sagittarius, so we're going to split them anyway, so we might as well. We Capricorn Carrier, so this is where some of our transport synergies are coming from. 2 units of Brokier Thundercannon with blast cannons to blow a cover off people. And then Chthonian Berserks, land fortresses ×3. All with Magna Rails. I don't think there's anything in particular. They can go through walls, which is cool. But there's nothing that benefits the transports themselves. Basically, everything benefits embarked units. So we're just rolling up big cannons, I guess. I guess the other thing too is that like if we don't have the triple Brokier Thunderkin little units, we're probably expecting to have to dedicate Brokier Thunderkin to support the infantry, which means that the Magna Rail cannons not caring quite so much about cover is probably fine. That's probably the most effective place to put those guns here. Very weird thing for Brandfast. If you go first, you can sequence yield before you hold your home objective. Turn 1 to reduce yield gain and stay in hostile longer. Because they both happen at the end of the command phase. That's bizarre. I imagine you end up wanting the yield points, because a lot of your stuff requires that you spend. Like, most of... I guess only one of your stratagems and one of your enhancements. But a Memnir strategist can reduce it by 1 every turn. So you're like probably paying down like 3 to 5. Which is not the end of the world. That is weird, though. That's a strange interaction. So we're rocking 5 Chthonian Berserks. So we do have some melee counterpunch. Triple Hecaton land fortresses. Double Hurricane Pioneers. A Jaeger unit. And that's it. So for the Capricorn Carrier. So no Ironkin. But we are taking that big, huge unit of Brokier Thunderkin. Now, the big important stuff we can do with this is you can reactive move your vehicles after they're being attacked, non-Hecaton Land Fortress vehicles. So the little stuff can run behind cover after you shoot them. You can shoot back at enemies from Capricus or Sagittarius, or spend yield points. Is this the only way to spend yield points during stratagems? Oh, it is. Okay, just kidding. So you're probably only spending 2, maybe 2 per turn plus the Memnir. We do have a Memnir, do we? Yeah, we do. Nice. So After a vehicle is shot, or after an infantry unit is shot, excuse me, a vehicle can shoot back at the target that shot you. For 2 CP and 2 yield points if you use it on a land fortress, which I'm sure you will. You can move land fortresses through walls. You can shoot a vehicle at a unit and then give all your infantry roll hit rolls of 1, which can potentially trigger more sustains, which is nice. So I imagine that's part of the wombo combo with the Broke Your Iron Master here. Because the Iron Master gives you reroll once to wound, but then you would have reroll once to hit and wound between the two. And the hits then trigger more criticals off the Thunderkin unit, so they can go wild. Next, but then the final thing, the important one, is secure positions. So end of a phase, if you have hostile acquisition, you can disembark from a transport. And that opens up like a lot of weird situations. So the big one I think that people had brought up is that disembarking in the charge phase doesn't have the same restrictions on charging after moving that doing so in the movement phase does. Right? Because I believe that doing so only, or excuse me, advancing and disembarking only prevents you from disembarking during that phase until the end of the phase, which means you can disembark later. So you can always disembark from a transport that is not either remain stationary, made a normal, advance, or fallback move. If you cannot disembark from a transfer that advance or fallback. So I guess I'm wrong. You cannot disembark that turn if you advance the transport. However, you act normally if the transport has not moved in that phase. So you can never advance and disembark out of phase. However, if you move, then pay the command point to disembark, you can charge after moving. Right? Or use it to like mess with Overwatch. Like you can't Overwatch a unit setting up out of the transport because it's out of phase at that point. If you do it at the end of like shooting, for example, you could still be Overwatched if you do it end of movement. But if you do it end of shooting, they can't do anything about it. And then you can just charge them. It's interesting to me that I guess it's like it makes some sense, but it would feel to me, and I guess there's a little bit of this because we do have those Chthonian Berserks, but it feels to me like this is a pretty good way to deliver melee units. And I feel like I would be playing like melee Steeljacks or something if I playing this detachment, but they're really expensive, and maybe I'm wrong. You can flip objectives too, yeah, for sure, because you can do so end of fight and then steal objectives away from people.
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $6 through Super Chat. Why haven't people realized that Mechanicus is the best army now? Don't they realize the power of 600 shots at a strength 4 AP 0 damage 1?
600 shots. And some of them even hit. That's the crazy part. Which is, I think people have been sleeping on. Well, as it depends on the does it mean you can disembark after transport has charged? I believe so. You disembark at the end of the charge phase. Yeah. I believe that's the case. I don't think anything prevents that. I think as we move towards, it's interesting because I think Mechanicus probably likes to see skewier metas. So as we move away from like the big knight spam or whatever, I don't think they were efficient enough to kill knights. Was the downside? Well, I guess that's not true because I think Skitarii Hunter cohort versus knights had like a wildly impressive win rate. It would basically did the same thing that we like watched Nemo do against Lionship Loft at the in the Invitational, where it just like swarms the board with a million dudes and then just like trucks you on primary. But against vehicle heavy metas, they can just dump. They can also just dump like massive anti-vehicle. And so I think we're going to see a little bit of a bounce back to more infantry focused stuff, which I think is beneficial for stuff like Kalos Greed Battleclade or Skitarii Hunter cohort. where their Sicarian Ruststalkers start to become like hyper valuable. And I think, like, for example, we're talking about like Eldar, which I think are the strongest faction right now. I would be shocked if Eldar didn't just come out and won a bunch of stuff. But like they can anti-vehicle down, assuming they can kill it quickly enough. If they shoot it with a breacher unit, they should be able to kill the Wave Serpent. And then like the Eldar player disembarks, but then you just charge +2 charge Halos Creed or +2 charge Ruststalkers into Foigan's unit and kill the entire thing. And it's like very consistent. Whereas most other armies can't do that because they don't have access to like a +2 charge unit with 50 melee attacks. And then like you're just trading up into every single aspect warrior unit and stuff. So I think AdBank is like unironically probably set to be not too bad. I don't want to say that they're good and they're going to win everything, but they definitely feel like they're going to be around the mid board pretty well. Right now you can 3-inch charge out of a land fort because the disembarkation's longer. That's true. I didn't even think about that, but that's actually incredible. You're right. Yeah, you could just set up 6 inches away. Hello. They go so far. That's amazing. That's incredible. This kind of feels like it might be a Khorne Demonkin kind of situation, chat. Because if you nerf that strat, is this detachment good at all? Makes no sense for graviton weapons to only be vehicle, considering it's compressing gravity. Yeah, for sure. I think they originally it was like supposed to be if you were wearing heavy stuff, it would affect it, but whatever. The commentary FAQ says you cannot disembark out of a transport that comes closer than 9 inches out of transport that comes out of reserve. I would be surprised if that applies here, but you might not be wrong. Let's look it up. Let's find out, chat. Let's find out together as we talk about this crazy detachment. Disembark. Bloop. Bloop. Come on. Embarked units and reserves. Units embarked within a reserves model can disembark the turn that says up. When they do, they cannot be set up within 9 inches of one or more enemy units. Counts as having made a normal move. I think you're right. I think you're totally right. Yeah, it doesn't say that when they disembark. So it says they can disembark. Yeah. Well, let's see. I guess the counter argument. No, there's no counter argument. Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think you're right. I don't think you can 6-inch deep strike out of 6-inch charge out of reserve. But you can definitely just move the transport through a wall and then disembark in front of it. So, or just rapid ingress it. So I don't know if it changes that much. Like you'll be able to get there. The bomber always gets through. Whether or not you do it out of reserve is fine. Well, like also, I don't know, like just screen, whatever. Oh, I can make a 3-inch charge out of deep strike onto your Nurgling unit. Okay, come at me, bro. I would love for you to dedicate 1,000,000 points of your army to fucking come in right next to me. It's not treated as falling in the regular disembarking maneuvers. It is. Yeah, you do disembark. It does. I guess it does say you can be set up anywhere on the battlefield wholly within 6 inches. But also it says you cannot be set up within 9. And generally speaking, the negative will override the positive. A restriction will override an allowance inside the 40k rules. I don't think that there are any examples where that doesn't occur. So saying that you can do something and saying that you can't do something, the can't do something always wins. You know, I can fall back, shoot, and charge, but I cannot shoot if I can't see anything, so I don't get to shoot. You know what I mean? I can set up on the battlefield anywhere 3 inches away from enemies. However, I cannot set up on the battlefield more than within 12 inches of a nominee scrambler. So I cannot do that. So I think that the cannot will win here. That's what it looks like to me. Importantly, because the secure positions does specify that you are disembarking. And so when you are disembarking, you cannot be set up within 9, right? That's a cool discussion, though. In any case, presumably the nerf will be no charging the turn you use it. Yeah, potentially. And then it's still really good. Yeah. Yeah, it's just sad because it feels to me like outside maybe the Delve Shift Assault or whatever, Delve Shift something, Delve Assault Shift. It's difficult for Votann to deliver melee units because all of their melee units are move 5. So they're like, they just get stuck on the battlefield. The poor Ironkid Steeljacks. The melee Ironkid Steeljacks are so fucking slow that they're just sad. They're sad boys. Brandfast is fine even if secure gets a rider that stops charges. And it's all actually not that easy to stay in hostile acquisition. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the case. Because you're generating almost just baseline 2 yield points per turn, right? Per round or per turn. So you're getting 4 per round, which means that nothing else happening. You're in I guess you only generate like 1 on turn 1, right? Because it starts generating on turn 2. So nothing else happening by the end of round 3, you are almost automatically in hostile acquisition unless you can spend. And then you're almost certainly in it round 4. And that is assuming that you haven't taken any of your opponent's objectives, which you probably are, because that's how you win Warhammer 40,000 games. So the detachments that require that you stay in the first set of the prioritized efficiency actually do feel like they're a little bit worse than the other ones. Velvet's like its own separate army. Yeah, because it's so different. It's just like it's just not really using any of the synergies inside the initial codex. I think that that's okay though, right? It's just that's what we call build variety. It's not necessarily like wildly different. It's just a different kind of army, you know, a different kind of army within the faction. You know, it's like saying that I don't know, Vanguard Spearhead Ultramarines is not the same army as Ironstorm Spearhead Ultramarines. I mean, they are. They just play different units. There are a couple of other lists that I wanted to talk about. Which I had noted down, and now I can find them. Here we go, chat. More Brandfast Oathband for your viewing pleasure. We'll see if it's any different. So far, so good. So this is Brandon Kading from an RTT. I believe he went 3-0. So big win over the weekend. The same deal. Broke here with the Tribark Cyber Implant. Double Capricus Carrier. Triple broke here Thunderkin. This one's double Land Fortresses. Already, we have found some build variety. Only 2 Land Fortresses instead of 3. We do have 1 Hernkin Pioneer unit for a little bit of aggression. Hernkin Jaegers times 2. Here are the Steeljacks, my boy. We have found them. 2 units with Vulcanite Disintegrators. 1 unit of 6 with melee. Let's go. I would be shocked if we weren't using melee chicanery in this build in particular to deliver the melee guys. Once you can deliver the melee guys, they feel very good. But on the way in, they feel like they are wildly underpowered. But if you could get them into the fight, they actually seem sick. And then double heavy Vulcanite Disintegrators, which I do like because the high volume stuff does feel like it has the biggest synergy with sustained hits, right? Because you're 6 additional hits, which should generate you 1 additional devastating at the very least. So the army ability immediately it deals an additional damage, or the detachment ability basically should deal 1 additional damage, and then they're also probably handing your opponent 2 additional saves because of the ability. Or yeah, probably 2. So, yeah, this list is neato speedo. The 2 land fortresses are interesting. I wonder if the Steeljacks off the side feel pretty good because their guns are such long range, because they shoot 30, right? Which always feels really long. It feels like Vulcanite weapons, or Volkite weapons in general, feel like they should be short range, but they're always super long. Just like conceptually, it's a heat gun, right? It's only 24. Excuse me. Thought it was longer, but that's okay. 24 inches is probably fine. That means if you come off the table edge, you can see everything in through the center of the battlefield, right? You can shoot past the midline. And you threaten weird overwatches too, which is good for their 5+ overwatch thing. That also gives them a little bit of a benefit because they can do it in Fortify Takeover to get 4+ overwatch as well. So if you accidentally go into Fortify Takeover, you can get the bonus from it anyway. That's kind of cute. But those are the only differences, really. I would be curious to see if that ends up looking much different. Have I? Oops, sorry. Ah, my tabs from earlier. We're being attacked. Being attacked from the last live stream. Here we go. All right. I have many more Votann lists that we can peruse. This is the one we just looked at. There are some 3/2s. There is another Brandfast, but it's mostly the same stuff that went undefeated at RTT. It tied in the finals, though. Like a natural 78-point draw. How random. Are there any other detachments? I think a lot of people are on Brandfast. All right, here's one. You ready? This character slot is wild. So I think we're locked into the Trivarg Cyber Implant Brokir Ironmaster, right? That feels like it's so good, you just take it. Did Votann deliberately make this feel like the Steeljack slow? Yeah, maybe. Imagine the melee guys. If the melee guys are like move 8 or something, I think that unit would be wildly different. The ranged guys, I get it. They got a big gun, but the melee guys, I feel like move 5 is not long enough, especially for how lightly armored they look. Because they're so spindly, right? We've got Buri, double Memnir Strategist, Uthar the Destined. Hearthkin Warriors, double Sagittor, the whole Brokir brick, 1, 2, 3 land fortresses with Magna Rails. Seems like in this detachment in particular, we're rocking Magna Rails. It feels like Needgaard wants to run at least one Hespe conversion beaver, because I think that you use the Ancestral Sentence, the sustained hits 2, basically every time you have the opportunity to do so in Needgaard. Almost every turn you should have that angled on a unit, and so even if you don't have your Brokir Thunderkin dedicated, you could just dump it onto your land fortress to get extra damage out. That feels like the play pattern for that. But if you're not doing that, the Magna Rail cannons actually feel pretty good. 1 Hearnkin Jaeger squad, no Capricus carriers. We are running only Sagittors plus Volcanite Disintegrator unit. You need a clown card tax for them? For the melee ones? Yeah, it makes sense to me. I would love to find someone rocking Delve Shift, because I want to see Delve Shift lists.
Bucket of Steel Cable donated $6.99 through Super Chat. Off topic, but I want your opinion. What if Cowell had an aura of double blood doctrine, as kind of like Show Rob Gorilla enhances Marines army rule?
Show Rob Gorilla. Good old Show Rob Gorilla's enhanced Marine army rule. That's a great question. I think it would be fine in the case of Doctrina Imperatives because I actually like unironically I think that Gilliman's double oath thing was like probably a huge mistake. I don't know if you needed to literally double the effectiveness of someone's army rule, right? The problem um with what do you call it? The Doctrina Imperatives is that some units need certain Doctrinas active at particular times. And if you don't have those, the army, like a lot of units, like either kind of fall apart or become like not very good. Um, so I think it would be okay for Doctrinas in particular. But most of the time, any of those effects that are like, here's a massive improvement to your army ability, you're like, oh, especially Oaths of Moment, because it literally doubles the effectiveness, right? Which I think is like a maybe too far. I don't know. But that's my opinion. I think you're probably right. Oh, Rob Gorilla. Remember a ton of discussion about taking a bolt cannon unit of Thunder Kid for extra range. Has not materialized. Yeah, most of the time it feels like the stuff that you want to shoot is in the middle of the table, or you're in a land fort, and the land fort just moves and disembarks you in the right spot. Because most of this faction is like basically throwing land fortresses at people and like toilet bowling all their damage output into a T12 2+ save. And the land fortresses will go down, but they won't go down efficiently. And then you just get to counter hit with all your short range shooting. So it feels like most of the time they're just disembarking normally and moping up anyway. I don't hate the bolt cannon one, especially because bolt cannons give you extra volume, right? To like hit more. So you have a greater chance of triggering it if you don't have bow hit bonuses. I'm gonna fact check myself on that. I know there's sustain too. Oh, just kidding. They have the same number of attacks. They have higher average accuracy because of sustained, but it doesn't matter when you're looking for hits. So yeah, you probably don't really need them. Like these guys out of a land fort, they threaten 32, which is like fine, right? That's good enough. And then if you're shooting something farther away, most of your guns don't reach it anyway, so it doesn't matter because most of your guns only shoot 24 regardless. All right, you want to see a weird list, chat? This is from Bob, who's been named Rob the Knob on his list. This one went 2-1. It did. It had an 82-point loss, which is impressive, and it has double Arkanyst Evaluator. It is Needgaard Oathband. Now, I don't think I have found any positive win rate lists outside of Brandfast or Needgaard. So if we're talking about playing these other armies, I don't know if we're going to find one. However, that said, this list has to have 2 Arkanyst Evaluators, and that's cool as fuck. So we're running Einherjar Champion, Oathband Speculator, Memory Strategist. So the Einherjar Champion gives you +1 to wound. Sometimes you take a big brick of Hearthguard with that too. I don't know if I love that, but it's okay. Hearthkin Warriors ×10 for just a little obsecking, I guess. No Uthar. We left him at home. Fuck that guy. Oh no, just kidding. He's just in his own category. Excuse me, chat. There is an Uthar. He's right there. Broke your Thunderkin with SP conversion. Only 1 unit, brother. What? Excuse me. Only 1 unit of Brokir's Thunderkin for the Ancestral Sentence. No enhancement on them. Einherjar Hearthguard ×5. That's where the champion's going. Jaegers might be a little bit more melee pilled, I guess. What are they running? Plasma Blades. So that's like 3 attacks at strength 6, AP 2 or whatever. That is exactly what it is. Interesting. Ernkin Jaeger, Sagitaur ×3. pioneers ×2, land fortresses ×2, and then a monkey in the bottom. Look at that little guy. He's so cute. I'm so interested in, you know what kills the land fortress really easily? 6 broke here. You know what? Fair enough, chat. You know what kills land fortresses? The other Votann player. I'm interested in these Arcanysts. So they're kind of nice because when you're taking Sagittors, which we are, they can fill the extra slot in the Sagittor. So you split off the Einhir Hearthguard or the I don't know what goes in the other unit. Do we have 5 Chthonians? I guess maybe just the Arkanyst, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might just be the guy. Because we can split the I think that's almost certainly what it is, right? Because you can split the Hearthkid Warriors, put 5 on your home objective, and then put an Arkanyst Evaluator into a Sagittor by themselves. So, but like, we could also just pay 100 points and get Hearthkid Warriors. So I guess we're doing it because we like the gun. And the gun is good. It's Rapid Fire 3, Strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage. So 6 shots, Strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage, and you gain yield points when you kill people. You spend a yield point to gain sustained hits 1, and then if you kill somebody, you gain 2 plus 1 from the detachment ability. So you gain 3 back if you kill a unit. Incredible. Or you you spend 1 to gain 3, so you net 2. Then you can use those to power the other stratagems. And it's 2 plus ballistic skill with sustain, so it should convert 6. If you're shooting at 5 Space Marines out of cover, you should kill them. Well, it's really dicey because you wound on 2s and they save on 6s. So if either one of those happens, if both of those things happen, you roll 1-1 and they roll 1-6, they don't die. But you also have a Sagittor there, so you can just shoot them with the Sagittor as well. So for 75 points, it actually does kind of make sense. I think I like these guys. I think they're funny. They feel slightly too expensive because like they could do nothing, eat 3 damage, and then just die immediately. But and then give up assassination. But maybe that's not the case. So maybe if they're too cheap, you just windmill slam 3 of them every game, and then you just blow up something with a bunch of Arkanyst Evaluators. They do break the AP2 curse though. If you're looking for AP3, Arkanyst Evaluators are where it's at. So I don't know. I think those guys might be okay. Which is sweet because I think they're neat. And then they turn you into gold. With resource transmutation. What time? How we looking, chat? So those are the armies that I picked out to look at. We got a good long look at both Needgaard and at Brandfast. I wish that we had results from other detachments. Because y'all are telling me you think that Persecution is really good, and Delve Shift also seems pretty good, but definitely doesn't feel quite as consistent.
Ryan G donated $5 through Super Chat. May I submit for a list review? Carl's go in the Hearthguard and 10 warriors for D's. Uther goes solo Undakin in reserve. Berserks and the other saggy.
10 warriors for D's nuts. Yeah, shoot me the list. I will take a look. Absolutely. Absolutely, I will look at them. Just let me know where you're sending it. Have I looked at the new fist attachment? Yeah, look at the live stream from this morning. You get to watch through my roller coaster ride of emotions as I misread the detachment ability. I read the detachment ability before the stream, even, and I misread it then too. Whoop. 3 wins in a row playing Hearthband. Interesting. No one's playing with enough bikes right now. I don't disagree with that. The one thing I noticed, because I played when I was prepping for Nova, I played 2 back-to-back games. They're both on the VOD channel. I played 2 back-to-back games with the army and with against Leagues of Votann. And the one thing I noticed is that as soon as you are above OC goal like 3, the army like falls apart. Like it just fucking mauls then cries. Like I had 5 OC on all the objectives and nothing could take it because everything's a split OC1 unit. Aside from Hearthkin Warriors, but you only have like 1 unit of those realistically in the front if it gets split by Sagittor, and then Hearthkin Pioneers. And I think that it feels to me like you want at least 2 Hearthkin Pioneer units just to be able to take an objective from 5 other enemies. That feels like the thing. Oh god, this list is so long. I think that we need a new list format. Lists are too fucking long. They're too tall. Why does everything get everything it has listed under it independently? Just put it in a line, and then the whole list can be compacted by like become 30% the size. Lists are just fucking huge right now. It's crazy. It always kills me every time I do those little slides for best armies of 40k. It always throws me for a loop because they're so tall. So we have 3 calls in Hearthband. In Hearthband, we're playing Hearthband today. I have to remember what Hearthband does. So it gives your call unit plus 1 AP, right? Call and 9 hero Hearthguard. Plus memory strategist plus Uthar. We've got double Hearthkin, Capricus, double Sagittor, all the Brokir Thunderkin. We have a 6-man. So they gain reroll hit rolls of 1. So they can trigger their SP a little bit higher, but they don't have any critical stuff, right? They're just vibing. Yeah, they're just hanging out. You can give them plus 1 damage. Oh no, in melee, just kidding. I don't know if I like the big Thunderkin unit. But maybe, I guess it's like efficient enough by itself. We're not putting any other work into it. But you're losing out on the 3rd unit of 3. I'm a little bit worried about that. We have Einherjar Hearthguard times 2, Hearthkin Pioneers times 2, Hearthkin Jaegers, Capricus Defenders times 3. Okay, so it's Rampart Crest calls go into the Thunderkin units, and then a Teleport Crest guy goes into 5 Hearthkin or 10 Hearthkin Warriors. Is that right? Or 5? 5 Hearthkin Warriors. We talked about that, and I didn't hate it because they get like their reroll 1s, but you already have reroll 1s. It's like so much lost efficiency in this attachment. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you just not to take Hearthband, even though that's what I kind of feel like. Well, that's okay. Like I guess you could give a unit a 4+ invuln save against shooting or whatever. Just like, all right, cool. But you're basically just a lot of your data sheets just have your detachment ability written into them, but that's okay. And then we have the Quake generator on 1 call to give -1 to hit, which is fine. There's also Chthonian Berserks. Jaegers, triple defender. We have a carrier? We do. So you can split off the Sagittars and then refill the Sagittars with Chthonian Berserks? That's pretty good. And then drop a bunch of Hearthguard on people. Hmm. You only get reroll ones at range? Oh. So the detachment ability is reroll ones to hit in melee? That's what we're going for? I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? Because we can like constantly pump a 4+ invuln save onto them and then just like eat the damage. And they're just like a big annoying unit of OC2 guys. I get it. And then they're like deep striking because we have a teleport crest, so we can rapid ingress funny places. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I don't know if I have any particular like thoughts about it. It's like a super weird build, so I don't know if I can really say too much. What's the total points at? 2,000 exactly. So we don't really have many places to like do stuff. I mean, we could like cut the Quake generator, but I feel like the Quake generator is pretty relevant if we wanted to get like more bikes or something, because we only have 2 units. But the Quake generator is probably fine because you're like playing very aggressively. I don't know what you guys are talking about in chat, but the Hearthkin warriors only gain rerolls in melee or at range, right? So the detachment gives them melee rerolls. Yeah, their ability is only at range. So the use case of the detachment is that it doesn't matter where you're shooting, like what you're attacking with. You could be attacking in melee, or you could be attacking anything, and you get rerolls. Bury isn't good with losing 5 berserks. Yeah, I think that's generally the consensus. I think people have come to. Is like he's really cool and lone operative is great, but like he doesn't do that much damage himself. He has a very impressive looking weapon, but then it drops 2 attacks and then you save 1 and he does 6 damage and you're like, this is 100 points. Okay, I could be attacking 15 times with 5 Chthonian berserks. Let's go. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know if I have that much to say. It seems like pretty good. Oh, I didn't realize I hadn't been showing off the list. Chat. I'm sorry. Here's the list. Ready? We'll read it one more time for posterity. I was on my camera the whole time. It's a triple call. One has the Quake generator, so you suppress things you shoot at. Memnir strategist for yield points. Although there's no way to spend yield points, right? You don't interact with yield points here at all, so it's like kind of whatever. Sorry. Uthar, Hearthkin Warriors ×2, Capricus Carrier, double Sagittar, double Broke Your Thunderkin 1/6 and 1/3, double Chthonian Berserks, Einhir Hearthguard ×2, Pioneers ×2, Jaegers, Capricus Defender ×3 is what's going on. That's what's up. That's the deal. Hearthfire, yeah. The Hearthfire arsenal is like really dumb. The thing where you move towards an objective is like kind of sweet. But that's literally all they have going for them. Everything else is stupid, which is annoying. It sucks. So you might as well just play Needgaard or whatever, because it like uses the same units better. All right, chat. Well, I don't have anything else to say about Leagues of Votann. My heart is pining for a hero that will give us a Delve Shift Assault list that we can take a peek at, because I think that would be cool. But I feel like most of the time it might just be spamming Chthonian Berserks, which is probably fine. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for coming in and hanging out and talking about Leagues of Votann with me. I will be live on Twitch in about 3 hours, I think, is the timing. That's gonna be I'm playing Salamanders this evening. I am undefeated in away games tournament. So somehow we have won all of our games with the silly Salamanders lifts every round. And we're up against Imperial Knights. It's time to see if I will lose the streak against Imperial Knights. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, chat, I'm going to go ahead and hop out. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you over on Twitch. I'll drop a link to the Twitch in the chat. Here you go, folks. And I'll see you there in a little bit. Cheers, everyone. Keep it classy, folks. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.